Hello, 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 everybody. It's your girl, Kamisha Tyler, aka Sarah Thea. I am. Turn it down. And today we're going to come from the book of Exodus, chapter 23. I'm going to try to I'm going to try not to take so much time today or anymore on these feeds, because what's happening is a lot of people are getting the content and yet not giving honor where honor is due. But we're just going to come from Exodus 23. However, either way, the information can get where it needs to go and be put out there and begin to change things for the better. So that's the main purpose. That's the main goal. We're going to come from Exodus 23. It says, "You shall not circulate a false report. Do not put your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. You shall not follow a crowd to do evil, nor shall you testify in a dispute so as to turn aside after many to pervert justice. You shall not show partiality to a poor man in his dispute." This is justice for all. And now with that said, we want to zoom in on the part that says how to treat me as per woman. You guys already know how I feel when it comes to man and woman, where God operates in perversioning. And what happened is Satan has deceived us in perversion. So perversioning is that God said to each give itself and its wife with it. If it's clean, give to it itself and its wife with it, or the female with it. So that goes down the line to if it's Canaanite or white, leprous background, give to it its woman. If it's a Anif, Afro, a Negro, American folk, or a Hebrew, give to it its woman. So God didn't operate in this level of interracial dating and mixing and all those things. So, maybe God put this in my spirit today. Where we're staying, been dealing with a lot of racism. I don't know if he has access to my content, access to things that I put on my page, access to the songs I've put out. I don't know, but he's been very upfront and racist. This is even before Donald Trump, so it's just an innate thing they have in them. And what happened was he'd been trying to come at me in certain kind of ways, but he was getting frustrated at when I would respond to them, as in, I know what you're trying to do, and this ain't what that is. So now he's moved over into the characteristics of abuse, where they say an abuser will do all these things to you, to the victim, and then turn around and seek for justice by claiming that the victimization that he was doing was done to him. And so that's what that's what's trying to, rear his head over here. He's been giving false allegations, wanting me to give him money that I don't owe. And then when I was addressing those things, Now he's just going into retaliation mode and saying, well, you've did this to me, you've done that. And it's a typical Canaanite or leprous response to showing the level of their leprosy or their sickness, and then trying to switch or alter it upon a different race, and more than likely it's going to be the chosen race. So anywho, we're gonna go get out of that. That's giving too much time to that. But so we're going to talk about how to treat me as per woman. And we are talked about in the beginning, when God came and they was doing things that they weren't supposed to do, and God was testing out the characteristics of that which we call a male and that which we call the female, the feminine and the masculine. And one thing that we found out, that God doesn't want to go along with scapegoating a woman. He's not on board with that. Now, I don't know what God you serve. If you're serving and rocking with eros love, which is what we get from the Romans and the Greeks, they call it erotic. They say that you've been shot by an arrow. You've got the Cupid love. So one minute you're in it, you're all in it, and then the next, they don't like your black skin. So to them that's okay. They feel like it's the story of Dinah. Philistine went in there. He so-called loved her so much that he raped her, and then he decided, I'm gonna go ask for this person to marry me because I love her so much. But that's I wouldn't say that's how God set it up for us in the first. There's a level of balance that has to take place when you're dealing with the righteous love of God. So, in my opinion, a lot of this eros love wants to show up in my life, and when I have to stand on my ground of, if you're going to love me and if we're going to love each other, we're going to be in agape love, or we're going to be in filial love. I don't really rock hard with the eros love. It doesn't work for me. So this is how to treat me per version. Now if you want to be in the Greek and the Romans and the white folks love, that's your choice. They've just learned how to continue to wear the smile at home, where you'll continually be deceived of who they are, and they go and take the erotic part out on your fellow brethren or sister. So we'll talk on that another time. So God doesn't want the woman to be scapegoated. Men, you're actually supposed to step up and stand up to your choices, your decisions, whether it's whether they are intentional. The consequences that you create in your choices, being leader, being man, being head, you're supposed to stand up to that. And it's going to be embarrassing. It's not going to feel good. But as the man, those are things that you're supposed to learn from. But I think what happened was, when you saw the results of God's love and saying, well, I'm going to do this on you for your sake, you kind of took that as a pass to continue doing wrong. Where God was just saying, look, I understand you're in the early stages of development. I understand that we're in the early stages of creation. Doesn't negate the fact that you're supposed to, at some point in your manhood life, become a man and wrestle with whatever it is you need to wrestle until you were blessed. That's the story of Jacob wrestling. He said, I'm not going to let this thing go until he's blessed me. So one thing is to stop trying to scapegoat us. You've traveled, you've journeyed the earth long before God created us to help you achieve whatever command you were meant to achieve before we were here. Before we were created, and in modern day, it's just saying before your wife came to help you meet those things. But when you choose rather to continue in the fall, then God begins to overt the plan, or change over the plan to what's going to give him the results that he's in search of, or she's in search of. So it isn't a thing where a woman is enslaved to you, to hold on and keep to your every word when your word bears no fruit, when you're just continuously lying out of your mouth. My dad would say, bumping your gums. That's not our purpose. That's not what we were sent here to help you do, or the life in abundant, or the abundant life that God has also given to us. Okay, so I also wanted to talk on this this component of masturbation. In the beginning was the Word was God. John 1:1. Okay. This word has nothing to do with a woman having pleasured herself because a man is failing to do that for her. The word masturbate is more centered toward what Rachel and Leah were doing to Jacob. It has to do, the word masturbate has to do with what Sarai did to Abram with Hagar. You're baiting the master. Okay, so I know the world wants to say, oh, well, you're not supposed to relieve yourselves, or find provision to be alone, because we've toppled over into what we call eros love. Everything is about them being pleasured by any means necessary, and whatever is a hedge of protection for either partner. They don't want you to they don't want you to partake in. So what do I mean by that? That means if we know we're in an era where man has fallen, and significantly fallen, and a woman is not given to him for his sexual needs or desires or pleasures, then they're saying, well, don't you go relieve yourself either. Just give yourself to me because this is what I want. Remind you that when that level of evil took over the earth, God just flooded it. He didn't bow down to what what the evil wanted, flooded it. So God can still do that same aspect of making provision when the earth is overtaken in evil, or mankind is overtaken in evil. We got narcissist stuff coming up. We got them being abusive. That means trying to mentally mind F-U star K, the female. You know, you going out here treating her all kinds of bad and then being the first to run and report against her. But you want us to give ourselves to you and let you fill us up with all of that kind of foolery. I don't know. Because it just, it carries in the womb onto the child that's being made. And then you're bringing hell on earth opposed to heaven on earth. You're producing and multiplying all kinds of sinfulness and letting it walk the earth. So that's one thing I wanted to put out there. If you just want to go ahead and re-look up those scriptures, the story about Jacob having the two wives. He was deceived into marrying Leah first and then Rachel. And then there was a level of the woman feeling a sense of being unseen, unacknowledged. And so in the words, the communicable words that they used, they were saying, well, you don't love me. So there was a level of her feeling unloved, unseen, neglected, not being paid attention to. And so this is why Jacob had got upset with Rachel and said, you know, am I supposed to take the place of God? Because she was wrestling with feeling love from God, because she was seeing how Leah kept being blessed in childbearing. And she was wrestling with feeling unloved by God, yet she directed it onto Jacob. And so after a while, the two women begin to masturbate Jacob. That's how that went. And they were saying, well, give me some mandrakes, and then, okay, you sleep with him today. Or give me this. Hey, I did that. Okay, well, he belongs to me for this day. And then the same thing you see with Sarah and Abram. She was doing the same thing to him. And now you see all their sin flourishing because they're masturbating for, or they're baiting the master for interracial, intermixing relations. That was the sin with Abram and Sarai. And God has to wean all that stuff out. You're going through this cycle of cleansing.
Lay down. Lay down.
There was sin.
Lay down.
See, we want to say, oh, a man can marry 2, 3, 4, 5 women, or be with 2, 3, 4, 5 women, and it's all right because of whatever scenario you've seen in biblical text. But if I just take the Leah and the sisters, Leah and Rachel, you have to realize that sin was present in the beginning of it. Deception was present in the beginning of it. And these are the parts of the stories that men tend to want to overlook, because they want the the pleasure or the joy of being in the wrong of it. And so they just say, oh, well, it's been biblically documented for my righteousness and salvation. You're if you know the narrative, I have this saying that until you realize there is a root of deception, you're going to be deceived. But it actually says until you realize there's a root of deception, everything else will confuse you. So I could understand why most men and these women who are benefiting from your spiritual loss and spiritual destitution could be upset with me in this sense of things. Because there's a truth coming out that they've done a great job of hiding from you, done a great job of altering the evidence of what's good and what's bad. Okay, so you just went from being oppressed and afflicted in slavery to them showing you how to willfully be a slave unto them, to their desires and what they want. And then when you see that and you're not turned on by it, or you don't receive any or when you've been given the evidence of this, then that evil demonic spirit shows itself. You've just been taught how to satiate them letting that evil demonic spirit rear up. But let's cast it out. Let's cast it away. And the same for ourselves. When the truth begins to unshackle these demonic beings finding a rest in sin, then let them rear up and cast them out. So, I don't want to be too long. I said that already, and I've already been on here longer than I want to. So, we'll take that. And remember, we came from Exodus 23. We're talking about justice for all, and it's a matter of knowing what justice is. See, we can't have years and years of injustice, and then all of a sudden, when you want something to go your way, we call it operating in injustice. We've been deceived for a mighty long time. Things have been perverted for a mighty long time. So until you get right in your spirit, until we're walking right in God's command, there's no need for you to try to think or feel that you know proper justice. At this point, you can only learn how to listen. We can only learn how to listen to one another and respect or give value or validate a person in their humanism, searching and looking to be holy and be one with their spirit or the spirit of things. You guys are too quick to sabotage something and destroy it, and then wonder why it's not functioning or it refuses to function with you in your savagery and savagery. Your evil, You're causing utterly destruction. And it's all for the sake of something being money loaded. Okay? And you shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds the discerning and perverts the words of the righteous. It says, keep yourself far from a false matter. Do not kill the innocent and righteous. Okay? So I will come back on here and discuss the things that's been put in my spirit to shed light upon. It's gonna sound different, maybe sound a little weird, you know, but if you've been cranking something the wrong direction for so long, and you actually start cranking it in the right direction and it makes a funny noise to you, it's because you're not used to hearing the rightful sound that it should make. You've been just tearing up some gears. Okay? And wondering why people are dying, becoming injured from it. So we'll talk some more. Hope y'all enjoy y'all day, and we'll be in touch.